Welcome to Hypnotic Authenticity. This is a place to reflect, a place to unwind perhaps, to understand yourself a little better, and to gently reshape the patterns that guide your life. A little bit like a conversation between you and your deeper self. So I'm offering a sprinkling of hypnosis, insight, some meditative guidance, and it's all going to be woven throughout a deep sense of practicality. So that if I do my job well, each episode is going to help you feel more grounded, also more open, and more authentically you. So if you're ready, let's begin. So I'm going to talk to you today about people pleasing. If you are sick to death of putting yourself last, if you are unable to say no, let's talk about ways that you can free yourself from people pleasing. Okay. Now, for a start, let's kind of just put this into perspective. Give yourself a break. Okay. We are social animals. It's kind of hardwired into our DNA to be a supported member of a group. Therefore, it's kind of natural that you want people to like you. Okay. So all that's going on with people pleasing is that natural innate tendency to get along with other people is going too far. Now, there are many ways that you can stop doing this. If you want, have a look at my video on boundaries. Have a look at my video on cutting cords. Because what's going on here is that you are putting your value below that of others, or you are putting the value of other people so high that that becomes a motivating factor for you in itself. Okay? So the way to stop people pleasing is to shift that value chain. Okay, so the question first of all is, what's your leverage? Why would you care? Okay, people tend to respond to pain more than to pleasure. So we might talk about how wonderful it could be if you were able to be your authentic self, if you were able to stride off into the future with a tremendous, confident, vigorous, dynamic drive. But that's pleasure. The problem is, if there is a story at the back of your mind which is more painful, that is more worrying, that it's somehow dangerous or risky or potentially going to have a ramification that you can't anticipate in being your authentic self, then it doesn't matter how much you might want to. The pain imagination kind of gets in the way and pulls rank. So you need leverage, which says, if I don't honor myself, that's also painful. Okay? If you can do that, then suddenly you can tell yourself that the risk involved in being yourself is less than the risk of allowing yourself to wither away on the vine, sort of thing. Yeah. So then you've got your leverage. Your leverage can be, who am I to waste away this day that I have been given? Something like that. If you can turn the act of not following your golden path into a sort of a painful thing, into a disappointment, into something which is sad and unworthy and somehow, I don't know, arrogant maybe, then anything that you can do that gives you leverage, that says, I am wasting myself away by not doing what is right for me, by putting other people first, that's going to help, right? Because then suddenly the importance of putting people first is diminished. Yeah, the pecking order shifts. But I tend to think most of the time that this is something that you cannot intellectualize away. You need the strength and the support of your imagination. Okay, so if you're watching this video, I'm going to assume that you've already intellectualized the fact that you're not happy with the idea that you're people pleasing. But that in itself is not sufficient, right? If it was, you wouldn't care about watching the video. So the point is that there is something going on in your gut, in your intuition, in the back of your mind, which is preventing you from doing what apparently you want to do, but which in the moment when other people are there facing you, you kind of abdicate, you kind of put behind their wishes. So if that's the case,
What we're talking about here is a subconscious story of protection. Okay, so your body is taking charge and stopping you from going down routes which could be potentially risky. Perhaps that's because there's a memory of a time in the past where that was potentially risky. Perhaps it's from a time which is so far long ago that you can't even remember, but it's there. It's embedded in the back of your mind. So the conscious way to do this is when you find yourself in a state where you know in your heart that you are people pleasing, that instead of doing what it is that you want to do, you're putting someone else's wishes first. At that moment, park the feeling. Remember the feeling, store the feeling in the back of your mind. And then when you have a moment, find a quiet place and follow that moment back in time to the last time that you could remember feeling like that. And then go back again to the time before that when you could feel like that. And then remember the time before then when you felt like that. And keep going back. Keep just doing meditation. Keep just doing breathing exercises, whatever it may be that allows your chattering mind to not get in the way. And then keep going back to the first ever memory that you can remember where you felt like that. And then look at that. See if you can examine the catastrophe that is involved with putting yourself first. Then consider the options that you had available at that time and look if, with your rational head, today you have more options, different possibilities, other ways to view that. Okay, so what you're doing is looking back on things that seem to make sense because of prior experience, looking at them with today's eyes and saying, okay, look, I know more today now, so I don't need to repeat what I was doing before. So that's one way of doing it. You can simply follow that feeling all the way back in time to when the meaning-making mechanism occurred, then look at it with fresh eyes from today and go, does that still make sense for me? But let's go one step further. Let's assume that this is something that is just in your gut. It's just, you don't even know why you're doing it. You just know that you're doing it and that it's annoying. So what I would encourage you to do then, let's do a little hypnotic induction. So let's start out by, health warning, please only listen to this, only pay attention if you're not driving, if you're not operating machinery, only if it's safe and appropriate to do so. Find a moment, find a place where you can be quiet, where you can be calm, where you can set aside just 5 minutes to check on yourself, okay? What I want you to do now, find a place to sit, take in a good deep breath. Hold that breath. And let that breath go. Feeling your body starting to become lethargic, rested. Beginning to notice that inner experience. Taking in a second good deep breath. Hold the breath. And let that breath go. Maybe your eyes are starting to become heavy, but just allowing them to stay looking at the screen. Focusing on your breathing, focusing on your inner experience, focusing on whatever feels noticeable in your organism. Taking in a third good deep breath. Holding the breath. And when you're ready, just allow that breath to come out. Allow your eyes to relax. Close your eyes if they're still open. Just breathe normally. Focus on your inner experience. Notice the support from whatever it is that you're leaning on, or standing on, or sitting on, or laying on. Notice the temperature of your skin. Notice the environment around you. Notice any sounds that might be passing by, but don't allow them to bother you. Just let them waft off. Focus on whatever feels most unusual in your body right now. Just do a little scan of your body. Check in with the whole of your body and notice what you notice. Notice the temperature of your breathing, the air that you breathe in through your nostrils, And the temperature of the air as you breathe out through your mouth. Just allowing your body to become still, and maybe you can already notice that your arms are becoming heavier. Maybe that your limbs are very, very still. But that every muscle in your body is loose and limp and completely relaxed. And because there's no need to go into a very deep trance, what I'd like you to do now is to remember the last time that you were people-pleasing, the last time that you didn't honor yourself, the last time that that little voice of authenticity was complaining, was tapping its foot because you weren't doing what you wanted to do. You were people-pleasing. Just remember that last time that you did that and notice the feeling that was associated, and go and find that feeling in your body. Find where it's strongest in your body. Where is that? Whereabouts in particular is that? Have a look or a sense or a feeling about where in your body that feeling is. Notice where it is. Notice exactly where it is. Does it have a name, perhaps? Could you give it a name? Does it have a texture? Does it have a color? Does it have a movement? Does it have a temperature? Whatever it is that you notice about that feeling, put that feeling out in front of you. And as you see it in front of you, notice that it's just a part of you, and that there are other parts of you. There is the self, there is the thinking you, which is regarding that part. And you can speak to that part. You can ask it. Ask it what it is that's concerning it. And just let it speak. Ask it what it is that it's concerned about. Ask it what it is that it's trying to protect you from. Ask it what it is that would be its definition of success. Ask it what it likes to do for fun. Ask it when it feels most safe. Ask it when it feels least safe. Ask it what it needs. And then, having received that message, I want you to scan inside your body for a part of you that has a different perspective, a different point of view, the part of you perhaps that is your true, authentic self, that's just trying to live, trying to breathe, trying to express, trying to enjoy. And what I'd like you to do is invite that part of you also forward and let the two of them have a chat. Let the two of them express to each other what it is that they are both trying to achieve. Whilst you just kind of sit in the background observing, seeing what's going on, learning about the motivations which are driving you in your gut. The motivations which are somehow stronger than your thinking intellectual capacity. I'm just going to go quiet so you can have that conversation just for a moment, just for a minute. What I'd like to do is for those two parts to find common ground, to find ways to agree. And so perhaps you might like to find a way to place that part of you, the people-pleasing part of you, the part of you that puts you second, that wants to make sure other people are happy with you. Let that hover or rest in your right hand. Maybe you want to put your right hand out in front of you and allow that shape, that color, that feeling, that texture, that temperature, that name to be in your right hand. And then hold out your left hand, and in your left hand, place that other part, the part that wants to sing and dance and be free, the part of you that wants to just express the beauty, the aliveness of what it is to be you. See them both in each hand in the figment of your imagination. And ask them both, would it be okay to make friends? Would it be okay to find a compromise? And with every breath that you exhale, just allow that sense of solidity to grow, a sense of serenity to grow, that sense of peace, that sense of togetherness, of congruence, of simplicity perhaps. And when you've got a positive response from both, I'd like you to do very, very slowly, only as quickly as is right for you, to gradually move those hands together. To move those hands together so that those two ideas, those two concepts, those two feelings can settle close by, together, as one, understanding the other, understanding their needs, understanding the peace which is always inside of you. And notice what you notice. If you notice any resistance, ask the part which is resisting what it might need and send it that. Send it that right now. So that those two parts can combine in your palms until eventually you can close your palms together. As that occurs, you can just allow yourself to drift even deeper, even more calm, even more comfortable, because this is easy. You're just remembering what it is to be you. And so now in a moment, I'm going to ask you to come back up to a state of full and present awareness. I'm going to count up from 1 to 5. On 5, bringing you back up to a state of full, vivacious, wide awakeness. So on 1, feeling absolutely wonderful. On 2, taking in a good deep breath. On 3, maybe stretching your head, stretching your neck, pointing yourself up to the sky, giving a shake off of your hands. On 4 now, it's like fresh spring water is bathing your eyes, whooshing through your mind, invigorating the whole of your body. And on 5, opening your eyes, coming back up to a present moment, having a good stretch, a good smile maybe, remembering how wonderful it is to just look after yourself for a moment. Welcome back. I hope that might be illuminating. The point is to build your imagination and your intellect congruence so that the two are pointing in the same direction. Now, if anything really got in the way, then what I would suggest that you do is to check another video that I've done on shame. Because the only thing that could stop this from working is when you have a concept of shame inside of you which is so strong that actually you kind of don't believe that you deserve to be put first, that you believe that there is an element of you which is faulty. And those sort of concepts have typically been taught to us implicitly. We have learned them from others, and they're not true to us. So if you had that sensation, please go and check out the video on shame. But just bask in this idea that the two parts of you, the part of you that wants to be sociable, the part of you which is a strength, which gets along with people, but which is going a little bit too far, and the part of you which just wants to express itself, wants to be you, wants to be your truth, that those two are melded in harmony, in peace. I hope that's of interest. There's only so much that I can do on a video when I haven't actually met you. This is the problem. So I'm kind of guessing about methods that might work for you. So what I would suggest, honestly, if If you want to go further with this, have a chat with the hypnotherapist. Give me a call. I do 30-minute conversations for free. And maybe if I understand a little more clearly exactly what it is that's going on, then you know, the suggestions can be tweaked in a different way. The methodologies can be tweaked. But I hope that gives you some value. It's the sort of thing that benefits from repetition. So try doing it over and over again. There's a very deeply felt comfort in bringing conflicting emotions together, in reconciling ways that they can live in harmony. So you can use this in actual fact for many, many different types of conflicts. But I hope it's of use for people pleasing. All right. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and check out my other videos. There are some which are existential. There are some which are hypnotic. There are some which are kind of practical. And there are some which are just designed to make you feel a sense of joy and happiness and the spring in your step. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If it resonates with you, then follow my podcast. I would also personally be really grateful if you might wish to leave a quick rating. It genuinely helps others to discover the podcast. If you personally would like more guided meditations, you want some deeper insights, you'll find all my links in the description. If you prefer a more visual boost, then you might want to check out my YouTube channel called Authentic Life Hypnosis. And if you're looking to do some deeper work that goes beyond one-way audio, then obviously you're very welcome to reach out. Equally, if you have any questions, I'm here to help. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.